Alright, we are doing Kabutops here. What we are trying to do is see what is the lowest level that we can beat the Elite Four with the Kabutops without using any items in battle, and only the items you can find through one playthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and use Harden. You will notice that Dugong is only using Rest. The reason for that is Loreley has what we call good AI, air quotes there, because it's going to think that Takedown is not very effective. Growl is listed as a normal type, and normal is not very effective against rock. So even though it's not an attacking move, the computer thinks that it's not very effective, and Aurora Beam's not very effective. And even though Rest isn't an attacking move, it thinks it's psychic, so it thinks that that's the move that it wants to go for. Which is nice for us, because we're only level 35, so we're going to get our 6 Hardens off, and we're going to get 3 Swords Dance off. Then we go ahead and we use a Body Slam. Of course, it's going to use Rest. And now we just need to go ahead and take out the Dugong. And it's really important we do set all those up, because we are going up against a Cloister next, which has very high defense. Kabutops has pretty good attack, but the Cloister's defense is so high, and we only have a physical move. So we want all that extra good badge boosting and whatnot. And as you'll see later, having all those Hardens will come in handy. So we're going to go ahead and use Body Slam. You will notice in this run, you'll see the critical hits are doing less damage than a regular hit. That's because in Gen 1, critical hits ignore all stat changes. So for better or for worse, it's ignoring all of our Swords Dance, and that's the damage it would deal. So if they use a bunch of Harden, like you're on Brock, and you know it hardened up, and then you got a critical hit, that'd be good for you. But in my case, they're not good for me. So in this run, what I was trying to do was I was going to mimic Amnesia to try to get badge boost again, so I can outspeed the Jinx, because I was having a really hard time getting past the Jinx. So that was the plan. Wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, but anyway, played around enough with the Slowbro, so I started to try to take it out. And easier said than done. I did allow it to use some withdrawal. Looking back, I would have just gone for Body Slam right from the get-go. But, such is life. So it keeps going for withdrawal, which is not ideal. And then it keeps going for super potions, which is also not ideal, because I, could run out of power points at this rate. So we get a nice little paralysis there, and we're on to the Jinx. And then plot twist, we don't outspeed the Jinx anyway, so all that was for naught, but we do have all those Hardens, so Double Slap doesn't really do anything to us. Jinx has awful defense, so we are able to knock it out, so that was good. And then we have Body Slam on the Lapras. Paralyzed, which is sweet. Fully paralyzed. If it was not fully paralyzed, we would not have won. So that's how you get through level 37, beat Loreley. Alright, we are on to Bruno. We are using a Kabutops. We are trying to see what is the lowest level we can beat the Elite Four with it without using any items in battle. I go ahead and I mimic Harden, because I got rid of Harden for Ice Beam, because we are going to need that. It helps us against the Onyx, because it has such high defense, and we need a special move. Now, Kabutops special isn't great, but it's also not terrible. Its attack is pretty good, and its speed is close to pretty good. Has a decent move pool. Doesn't learn Rock Slide for whatever reason. Riddle me that. I could have gone with Surf, because that would have been a stab move, and that would have been nice. Stab is STAB, stands for same type attack bonus. But you can't forget HM, so I really didn't like the idea of having an HM, and water types don't really help us too much against blue, so I really don't want to be stuck with only 3 move slots for blue, so that's why we just didn't do Surf in this run. And we did the traditional Bruno deal where we harden up, we get our badge boost. Once we get past the Hitmonchan, it can't really do anything to us, because that was probably the worst thing that could have happened was Thunder Punch, and it didn't even do that much, so we were good to go. But we do get Ice Beam and Blizzard, we do get all those normal moves, Submission, Seismic Toss, all that fun stuff, Rest, Substitute. So it's kind of a standard run, nothing crazy, but it gets Swords Dance. I mean, Swords Dance is probably, I would say, top, maybe second, third, probably third best move in the game. Spore is number 1, Amnesia is number 2, then I would put Swords Dance right there. And I don't really think you can argue that fact, to be honest. So there we go. Yeah, we're just kind of taking him down. He goes for next defend. That's great. We're just using Body Slam at this point, because we don't want to commit to Hyper Beam quite yet. And we're level 39, and we beat Bruno. We don't want to learn Slash, because that ruins our Sword Stance, because it critical hits most of the time, so we really don't want to learn Slash. But there we go. Info dump Bruno. Alright, we are on Agatha. We are seeing what is the lowest level we can beat Pokemon Red and Blue with the Kabutops using no items in battle. So the strat coming into here is I have to freeze the Gengar. I mean, there's no other way about it because I have to be able to set up Sword Stance. I can't set up Sword Stance on the Golbat, even though it can't really do anything to me. It knows Haze, so I'd have to just get insanely lucky for it to not use Haze, at least at some point. And then I want to mimic Wing Attack, because Wing Attack can hit Ghost-type move or Pokemon, and with our Sword Stance, it's going to do more than Nightshade would do. So once I get my Mimic, I get my Wing Attack, then I just want to get rid of the Golbat, so I can go back to the frozen Gengar and set up my Sword Stance, because in Generation 1, once you're frozen, you don't unfreeze, unless you're hit by a fire move or you use a full restore or full heal or something like that. So it pretty much allows us a relatively free setup with the Sword Stance, and then we can go ahead and Wing Attack, close to a one-hit KO, not quite, and then the Haunter comes out. And even to just get that little setup was hard enough. And then the Haunter can do stuff to us because it does survive, but it goes for Super Potion this time, which is great. There's a little MetaZoo Discord for you. Arbok, not too big of a deal. We can take care of Arbok here. So we're going to go ahead and just Wing Attack it. I was thinking about going for a different move, but I just said, you know what, we're just going to use Wing Attack. I did have Rest in case I needed it for the Arbok, but didn't need it this time around. So then the Gengar comes out, uses Dream Eater, which is sweet because it's going to be a 2-hit KO, so it really can't do anything to us. Nightshade, awesome. We just didn't want to see Confuse or Sleep, but Nightshade's fine. Wing Attack. That's Agatha. Looked a lot easier than it was. That kept me up all weekend. Alright, we are trying to beat the Elite Four with the lowest level Kabutops possible. No items in battle. Out comes the Gyarados. Pretty much Gyarados is the hardest thing here, and we get so lucky with some miss opportunities here. So Hydro Pump misses, so we say, you know what, let's risk it. Let's go for another Sword Dance, and then guess what happens? Hydro Pump misses twice in a row. That is unreal. I said, hey, I had enough luck for one day. And only one Sword Dance will not knock out the Gyarados, so you need 2 Sword Dance on your Hyper Beam if you're going to knock out the Gyarados. And then out comes Dragon Air. We try to learn Leer. Obviously, we're not going to learn Leer right now. The Dragon Air do not have great defense. So 2 Sword Dance, Kabutops attack, and a Hyper Beam, which is like 150 base power, is going to knock out both the Dragon Airs, no problem. There is a 95% accuracy, so 5% chance that we do miss. So we're just kind of making sure that doesn't happen. Then next is going to come out an Aerodactyl. With the rock typing, we decided Hyper Beam's just not going to be the best move here, so we go ahead and go for Ice Beam. That won't knock it out in one move. We do get a lucky Hyper Beam miss there, even though we are rock type though, so it probably wouldn't have done too much. And we get lucky that Supersonic didn't hit. That could have really ended the run. So that was, you know, Aerodactyl was being nice to us there. Because imagine a Supersonic and then a Hyper Beam, just not something we want to see. And then I just play it safe. I go for the Ice Beam. It's 2 times super effective. Not going to knock it out in one hit, but it really can't do anything to us. Slam, Hyper Beam. None of that's going to knock us out in one shot. So we go ahead and we take down the Dragon Master with the Fossil. So, there we go. That was Lance. We're on to Blue. Alright, we were seeing what is the lowest level we can beat the Elite Four with the Kabutops. No items in battle. Let's get into it. So against the Pidgeot, we want to set up the Sword Stance. We want it for 2 reasons. Obviously, we want our attack to be higher, but 2, we want to outspeed the Alakazam. So that's what we're shooting for. I do go for Ice Beam in the middle here. The reason being is there are some combos of moves that I want to be able to just end the Pidgeot. So I did put in another Sword Stance, even though one more Ice Beam should have knocked it out, but it also could have been a range. So it just kept things more consistent to hit that other Sword Stance here. Now, what actually happens is it's a speed tie against the Alakazam. So sometimes I would go first and sometimes it would go first. This was just an unfortunate one where the Alakazam was faster or won the speed tie anyway, but a Hyper Beam knocks it out. So we're good to go there. Level 48, we do lose our speed, not the end of the world. So against the Rhydon, I am going to mimic Horn Drill. This is like, I didn't need it all the time, and I was really only going to use it on the Blastoise, but it was just nice to have because I didn't really need any other move. And then I do set up my last Sword Stance. Don't love to see the Leer because there are quite a bit of physical moves that can hit me, so I don't want to see the Leer, but, you know, is what it is. And then I go ahead, I Ice Beam the Rhydon, and it's going to take it close, but not all the way. And then it goes Fury Attack, and then I was in my live, and I said, it's like, it's enough slices! Like, that's the meme that this just made me think, because it just kept going, and kept going, and kept going, and it got 5 hits, which I really don't want to see, because I've got 3 Pokemon left. But then I do go for the Ice Beam. knock it out. And then we have the Arcanine, which is fine. I'm going to go for Hyper Beam. It should be a one-hit KO. Wasn't too concerned there. Didn't want the 5% chance to miss. And then out comes Executor. And the worst thing that could have happened. So I was going to go for Ice Beam, knock it out, but I go, no, let's go for Horn Drill. I'm at such a low level. I miss, and I get put to sleep. Luckily, I wake up. And then this Barrage, I'm kind of thinking it's all over here. Or like, can we stop now? And it does. So, and then I get lucky. I hit this Horn Drill, but I'm at 15, right? Not a good situation to be in. So I'm just going for Horn Drill. Let's see. I get lucky that it goes for Withdraw. Boom, hit the second Horn Drill. So that was wild. Way lucky. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate all the emojis you're dropping in my comments. It really helps me out. Thank you.